Javi Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodhanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, 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 Hari Bol. हरनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama-shloke Bhaktir-bhavati Naistaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namah Pankajanabhaya Namah Pankajamaline Namah Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangre Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvise Namaha Namo Brahmanyaya Devaya Gau Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukum karoti vachalam pangam langayate giravnityapuramaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Om Apavitro Pavitrava Sarva Vastam Gatopiva Yashmaret Pundari Kaksham Sabhya Yabyantaram Suchi Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu Hare Krishna. Shilpa Mataji, am I audible? My video visible clearly? Is everything okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thanks for joining the call. Praveen Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining the discussion, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Deepa Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Thanks for
Hare
joining the
Krishna
call.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Pushkala Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Sudhakar Prabhu and Harikumari Mataji, my parents. Thank you very much for joining the call. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. So, Prabhujis and Matajis, today we are going to discuss, I'll give you a brief introduction. We're going to discuss about Canto 7, Chapter 1, and from shlokas 34 to 48, right? So based on the task given to me to complete this chapter, right? Chapter 1 of Canto 7, right? By Shilpa Mataji, right? Supposed to take Chapter 2 today, right? But looks like His Grace Subbarao Prabhu could not complete the whole chapter last week on Ekadashi class. So Shilpa Mataji has asked me to complete from the where Prabhuji has left. So that's the reason we are going to discuss about Canto 7 and Chapter 1. Right. So primarily, before I get into the subject, this chapter discusses the discussion between Sukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj about how Supreme Lord treats everybody equally. Right. And Sukdev Goswami refers to the discussion of Narada Mahamuni and Yudhishthir Maharaj, where Narada Mahamuni is explaining to Yudhishthir Maharaj on how does really God treat everybody equally and protect. Right? Yudhishthir Maharaj was asking some questions to him. Right? Therefore, he's kind of clarifying all those questions, and that is exactly where Sukdev Goswami is explaining to Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj's question is really God partial? Does he show partiality? Right? How can he kill somebody? Right? Like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Kumbhakarna, or Ravanasura, Dantavakra, and Shishupala. How can he kill any of them? Right? And he also states, because Supreme Lord himself states that he is equal to everyone. Right? He does not treat anybody without any partialities. Then why is that he had to kill at the end of the day? Because everybody is his children, right? And Bhagavad Gita gives us a very clear understanding, Prabhuji and Mataji's, at least couple of references what I want to quote from Bhagavad Gita, right? Does really God treat everybody equal? Is everybody equal to God? Right? In the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains that Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. Right? Sorry. He says, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Sahrudam Sarva Bhutanam. So he says, I have that equal vision and equal heart for everyone. Right? Sahrudam Sarva Bhutanam. Right? Which is very clear that, he treats everybody equally. Right? And in the 9th chapter also, Krishna explains that, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu Name Dveshostina Priyaha. Right? So it means I treat everybody, all the living entities. He's not just referring to one human race. In fact, so he's telling Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. Sarva Bhuteshu means every living entity, irrespective of whether it is a human or an animal or a bird or an insect or whatever it is. Right? Name Dveshosti na Priyaha. That means neither I'm envious to anyone nor I'm too dear to anyone. Right? That means Krishna treats everybody equally. Right? In 18th chapter also, Krishna says, Brahma Bhutas Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. Samaha sarveshu bhute madbhaktim labate param. Right? That means a devotee who has these qualities. And one of the qualities is treating everybody equally. Samaha sarveshu bhuteshu. Samaha, that means equally. Sarveshu bhuteshu, treating every living entity equally, is very dear to me. One of the qualities, a good qualities of a devotee, is also defined in 18th chapter by Krishna. That means it is very, very clear that Krishna treats everybody equally. Right? There is no partiality as such. Then in that case, why is that God engaged in these kind of pastimes or in these kind of activities? Is what the question of Parikshit Maharaj to Sukdev Goswami, and of course Yudhishthira Maharaj to Narada Muni as well, right? So therefore, I thought of setting the context of this discussion before we go further. So I was taking few references from Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says everybody is equal to me. So that sets the platform that Krishna is not partial to anyone. With that, let's go into the subject that we need to discuss today. Let me share my screen. Are you able to see my screen, Prabhuji and Mataji? Can one of you confirm?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare.
I think we have few more devotees who joined us.
Prabhuji, the screen is actually black.
not
At least I can't see anything.
Not yet, Prabhu, not yet. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Only your face is visible.
Oh, is it? I shared the screen. Let me share this.
फिर बाकी गुस्सा हो जाएंगे सॉरी और गुस्सा हो जाएंगे क्या है झूठी झूठ नहीं मेरे सामने झूठ नहीं
Hare Krishna. Can we please mute? Prabhuji, now we can.
Now? Okay. Hari Bol. Thank you. So this is chapter 1. The Supreme Lord is equal to everyone. Right? His Grace, Subbarao Prabhu has covered few shlokas. I think he's covered till 33, where there is an initial discussion between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukdev Goswami, where Parikshit Maharaj, as I explained, he was asking Sukhdev Goswami about the what is the context of it? Is he really equal to everyone? And in that context, Sukhdev Goswami was explaining the discussion about how Supreme Lord is equal to everyone, and the discussion between Narada Mahamuni and Yudhishthira. So we'll start from 33, right? So 33 was completed, but just to have the continuity. So 33, the translation of 33, Narada Muni continued, "O best of Pandavas, your two cousins, Sishupala and Dantavakra, the sons of your maternal aunt, were formerly associated to Lord Vishnu, but because they are cursed by Brahmanas, they fell from Vaikunta to this material world." So Narada Muni explained, is continuing to explain how the entire pastime of Jaya and Vijaya, and how they have taken three births, right? That is what we are going to see in a summary of this chapter till the end, right? How three of them, two of them, in fact, have fallen to the earthly planets, and what made them to do that, and what are the incarnations or what are the lives that they have taken, and how they were killed by Lord, why, right? All those things we will have a detailed discussion, right? Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Shupala and Dantavakra were not ordinary demons, but were formerly personal associates of Lord Vishnu. They apparently fell to this material world, but actually they become to assist the Supreme Personality of Godhead by nourishing his pastimes within this world. So Prabhupada is explaining in this purport that these two personalities, Shishupala and Dantavakra, are definitely not ordinary people. They're demons. In fact, he's saying not even ordinary demons. They're very powerful because they were the personal associates of Lord Vishnu. They belong to Vaikunta. They don't belong to this material world. So Prabhuji and Mataji, that means when somebody is from Vaikunta, they are not ordinary entities or not ordinary living entities. They're very, very powerful, right? And such kind of personalities becoming demons, right? Understand how powerful they could be, right? Because they're very close to God. They are the guards of entire Vaikunta. We usually see security guards, right? How strong they are. And somebody who's guarding the Vaikunta, how strong they will be. And for them, such kind of people becoming demons, right? Can we imagine? Why do they become like that? They don't fall, when we get into the further discussion into this chapter, Prabhupada also explains that usually people who are a part of Vaikunta or the entities which are part of Vaikunta, they don't need to come back to the material world. They will not fall back, right? But they come back for a particular reason, that is to assist the Lord in his pastimes. Otherwise, they don't need to, right? Which we will go into detail in our discussion. 7.1.34, 34th shloka. Somebody wants to read the translation?
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maharaj Yudhishthir inquired, what kind of great curse could affect even liberated Vishnu Bhaktas, and what sort of person could curse even the Lord's associates? For unflinching devotees of Lord to fall again to this material world is impossible. I cannot believe this. Should I read the purport of the Prabhu?
Yes, please.
Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 8.16, the Lord clearly states, Mam upetya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. Prabhuji, can you please scroll down a little bit? Your picture is coming there.
Oh.
Down, Prabhuji. No,
Okay.
sorry, up, scroll up, sorry. It's good. One who is purified of material contamination and returns home back to Godhead does not return to this material world. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Krishna says, Janma karma chame devyam emam yoveti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti surjana. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Maharaj Yudhishthira, therefore, was surprised that a pure devotee could return to this material world. This is certainly a very important question.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So in this purport, Prabhupada clearly quotes the Bhagavad Gita shloka of 8.16, where Lord Krishna himself says, Mam upetyat kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate, right? Before this, Krishna confirms that the material world is full of sorrow, right? Mam upetyat punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam, right? So it is very, very clear. He confirms that, this is full dukkhalayam and ashashvatam, right? And following shloka, where this particular shloka is, he says, even if you go all the way to Brahma Loka, you'll have to fall down, right? A Brahma Bhuvanal Loka punaravartino Arjuna. Ma mupetyatu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. So he says, even if you go to the topmost planet of this material world, which is Brahma Loka, you are tend to fall down because it's part of material world. But somebody comes back to me, to my planet, will never go back. Punarjanmana vidyate. Then that's what surprising Yudhishthira Maharaj is somebody who's part of Vaikunta. How can they fall back? Right? Exactly, that's what Prabhupada is quoting here. The surprising factor of Yudhishthira Maharaj. And Krishna also says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yovetti tatpataha tektva deham punarjanma naiti mameti syorjuna. Every day they are chanting the glories, right? That they're talking about, Krishna. They're discussing about Krishna. They're pure devotees, right? Krishna himself says one of the pure qualities of devotees are always talking about his glories, right? Chanting his name, Machita mat kata prana bodhyayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushanti charamanticha, right? Krishna says, right, in the Bhagavad Gita. So that is a pure quality of a devotee. Every time, wherever it is, if two devotees meet, they only talk about Krishna, discuss his pastimes, discuss his glories, right? How are we doing? How are we progressing Krishna consciousness? That's a pure consciousness of a devotee, right? In 10th chapter, Krishna talks about this. Then such a exalted devotees, how can they fall down to the material world, and that too by cuts? That's the surprising factor of Yudhishthira Maharaj, which we'll see what happened exactly in our next verses. Yeah, 35. One of you want to read this?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Giriraj Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you for morning Mangalarthi Prabhu. Very
Dandavat.
nice and big deities. Happy to be
Right.
part of it. Thank you. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The bodies of the inhabitants of Vaikunta are completely spiritual, having nothing to do with the material body. Senses are life, air. Therefore, kindly explain how associates of the personality of Godhead were cursed to descend in material bodies like ordinary persons. Purport.
Please read the purport. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Purport. This very significant question would be difficult for an ordinary person to answer. But Narada Muni, being an authority, could answer it. Therefore, Maharaja Yudhishthira inquired from him, saying, Etad akyatum arhasi. Only you can explain the reason. From authoritative sources, it can be discerned that associates of Lord Vishnu who descend from Vaikunta do not actually fall. They come with the purpose of fulfilling the desire of the Lord, and their descent to this material world is comparable to that of the Lord. The Lord comes to this material world through the agency of his internal potency. And similarly, when a devotee or associate of the Lord descends to this material world, he does so through the action of the spiritual energy. Any pastime conducted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is an arrangement by Yogamaya, not Mahamaya. Therefore, it is to be understood that when Jaya and Vijaya descended to this material world, they came because there was something to be done for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, it is a fact that no one falls from Vaikuntha. Of course, a living entity who desires Sayujya Mukti remains in Krishna's Brahman effulgence, which is dependent on Krishna's body. Brahmanohi pratisthaham. Such an impersonalist who takes shelter of the Brahman effulgence must surely fall down. This is stated in the Shastra. Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, 2nd chapter, 32nd verse. కొంచెం స్క్రోల్ డౌన్ చేశారా బాబు? Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. योऽन्ये रवीन्द्राक्ष विमुक्तमानिनास् वैयासिता भवात् अविशुद्धबुद्धया आरुह्य कृच्छ्रेण परं पदं तथा पतन्त्यदो नादृत युष्मद् आङ्ग्रयाः. O Lord, the intent of those who think themselves liberated but who have no devotion is impure, even though they rise to the highest point of liberation by dint of severe penances and austerities. They are sure to fall down again into material existence, for they do not take shelter at your lotus feet. The impersonalist cannot reach the Vaikuntha planets to become associates of the Lord, and therefore, according to their desires, Krishna gives them Sayujya Mukti. However, since Sahajya Mukti is a partial Mukti, they must fall again to this material world. When it is said that the individual soul falls from Brahmaloka, this applies to the impersonalist. From authoritative sources, it is learned that Jaya and Vijaya were sent to this material world to fulfill the Lord's desire to fight. The Lord also sometimes wants to fight, but who can fight with the Lord but a very confidential devotee of the Lord? Jaya and Vijaya descended to this world to fulfill the Lord's desire. Therefore, in each of their three births, first as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, second as Ravana and Kumbhakarna, and third as Shishupala and Dantavakra, the Lord personally killed them. In other words, these associates of the Lord, Jaya and Vijaya, descended to the material world to serve the Lord by fulfilling his desire to fight. Otherwise, as Maharaj Yudhishthira says, Ashradhyeya Ivabhati, the statement that a servant of the Lord could fall from Vaikuntha seems unbelievable. How Jaya and Vijaya came to this material world is explained by Narada Muni as follows. Thank you, Pooja. You are speaking on mute, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Sorry for that. So very important verse for this chapter, one of the very important verses. So let's spend some time on that, where Srila Prabhupada explains a lot of things in this purport, right? Though the reason of what happened exactly, why the Jaya and Vijaya were cursed by Brahmanas, and they had to take birth 3 times in this material world, though it is explained as a very short summary, right, in this chapter. In the earlier cantos, it's a very clear description given. I was fortunate to take one of those classes at that point of time. Therefore, I was just, recollecting those things, right? So as Prabhupada also explains in this purport, right, it is basically the wish of the Lord, right? Prabhupada explains in the earlier cantos in his purports that, right, Lord also has some qualities, right, which we are also a reflection of it, basically, right? Whatever it is, the love, the whatever, all those things, right? The spirit to fight, the spirit to love, all those things for us actually comes from the Lord, because we are a part and parcel of it, as read in Bhagavad Gita, right? So Krishna himself states that in Bhagavad Gita, right? Mamai vamsho jiva loke jiva bhutaha prasanna, right? He says, right? So we are all part and parcel of his effulgence, or his personalities, what Lord Krishna confirms, right? Therefore, Lord also has this quality. So one of the qualities of Lord, or one of his desires, is to fight, right? But surprisingly, who can fight with Supreme Lord? It is not possible. Nobody can. Nobody is equal or above him, right? There's no way. Therefore, whenever Lord has his desires to fight, he creates his own pastime where he can empower some devotees to get into that level to fight with him, right? Which is explained in detail in the earlier canto of this episode of Jaya Vijaya being cursed, right? In fact, in this chapter, if you see for next few shlokas, maybe it is not explained in detail, but in the earlier cantos, it is clearly explained that the Supreme Lord comes himself running to the gate of Vaikuntha. When Brahma Kumaras are, they cursed Jaya and Vijaya, he himself come running, right? Because he understands that it is due to his own arrangement. And he explains that to this, Brahmanas who have cursed Jaya Vijaya. And he specifically calls out that, right? This is due to my arrangement, because after cursing, the Brahmanas also regrets. Being a Brahmana, how can they get into this kind of anger? How can they curse somebody from, Vaikunta? How can this curse Vaishnavas? They also regret, right? And of course, Jaya Vijay are also already regretting, right? Then Lord himself comes running to the main gate of the Vaikunta and he pacifies everyone, right? He also explains it to Brahmanas that this is purely due to his arrangement. Therefore, they don't need to worry and leave, right? Hearing that, they are pleased and all the Brahmanas leave from the Vaikunta, right? Therefore, it gives us a clear understanding that whatever happens, it purely happens with the sanction of God, right? That is very, very important. And other thing what I want to just spend some time is here, if you look at this, Prabhupada explains that any pastime conducted by Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Personality of Godhead is an arrangement by Yogamaya and Mahamaya, right? We would have heard these terms, a couple of times earlier, Prabhuji and Mataji, but I would like to just reiterate on this. What is Yogamaya and what is Mahamaya for somebody who, maybe who never heard of these terms before, right? So there are two kinds of Mayas, Yogamaya, Mahamaya. Yogamaya, though it is a cover by the God, it is covered by the God to make people more closer to him. It's basically mercy of the God, right? We can talk reference to the Vrajvasis, Gopas, Gopis, right? Though they are very close to God as a friend or as a, as relatives or whatever it is in Vraj, but they don't know that Krishna is Supreme Lord. That's called Yogamaya. Yogamaya keeps us engaged with the God, not understanding who is he, but we are always in the service of the Supreme Lord, right? Mahamaya is something which takes us away from the God, right? This is also not understanding who is God. That is also, Mahamaya is also not understanding who is the God. But Yogamaya is not understanding who is the God, but being very close associate with him. Mahamaya is completely away from him. So that's a primary difference between Yogamaya and Mahamaya. And of course, Krishna talks about, Sayuja Mukti, and he very clearly, explains in Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam also very clearly explains this. And Prabhupada also quotes this, right? Sayuja Mukti remains in Krishna's Brahman effulgence. So, again, the entire philosophy of Nirguna, right, and impersonalism is chastised here with these shlokas, right? Let's get into the next shloka. 36. Anyone want to read this? It's just a translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I read it?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Yes, thank you Prabhuji. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: The great Saint Narada said, once upon a time when the four sons of Lord Brahma named Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana and Sanat Kumara were wandering throughout the three worlds, they came by chance to Vishnu Loka. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. 37.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Yeah. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Although these four great sages were older than Brahma's other sons like Marichi, they appeared like small naked children, only 5 or 6 years old. When Jaya and Vijaya saw them trying to enter Vaikuntha Loka, these two gatekeepers, thinking them ordinary children, forbade them to enter. Purport. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya says in the Tantra Sara, Dvavstha ityanenadhikara sthatvam uktam. Adhikara sthitaschaiva vimuktascha द्विधा जना विष्णुलोक स्थितास्तेषां वरशापादियोगिना अधिकारस्थितं मुक्तिं नियतं प्राप्नुवन्ति च विमुक्त्यनन्तरं तेषां वरशापदयो ननु देहेन्द्रियासु युक्तश्च पूर्वं पश्चान्न तैर्युत अप्यभिमानिभिस्तेषां द्वैस्वात्मोत्तमैर्युता. The purport is that the personal associates of Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha Loka are always liberated souls. Even if sometimes cursed or blessed, they are always liberated and never contaminated by the material modes of nature. Before their liberation to Vaikuntha Loka, they possess material bodies, but once they come to Vaikuntha, they no longer have them. Therefore, even if the associates of Lord Vishnu sometimes descend as if cursed, they are always liberated. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother. Hare Krishna. Self-explanatory shloka. 38. Just a translation. Mother, you want to continue?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can. Thus checked by the Prabhuji, can you like little zoom because I'm not able to see. Chatvaram, they get the convert to do it like that.
Just a minute.
Yeah, I'm able to. Yeah. Thus checked by the doorkeepers, Jaya and Vijaya, Sanandana, and the other great sages, very angrily cursed them. You two foolish doorkeepers, they said, being agitated by the material qualities of passion and ignorance, you are unfit to live at the shelter of Madhudvisha's lotus feet, which are free from such modes. It would be better for you to go immediately to the material world and take your birth in a family of most sinful asuras.
Yeah. 39.
Okay,
Anyone?
should I continue, Prabhuji?
Yeah, sure, Mother.
Yeah. While Jaya and Vijaya, thus cursed by the sages, were falling to the material world, they were addressed as follows by the same sages, who were very kind to them. O doorkeepers, after 3 births, you will be able to return to your positions in Vaikuntha, for then the duration of the curse will have ended. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So in between this episode where they are cursed and eventually they become very kind and tell them how they can come back. There's a whole episode, as I explained earlier, which is explained in the earlier cantos, where Lord Vishnu himself come running to the gate and he pacifies everyone. The whole episode happens there. So after that, they finally, right, tell them that they can come back and they will leave. Right? Yeah. 40. Anyone want to read this?
Prabhu, I'll read it. Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Yes.
These two associates of the Lord, Jaya and Vijaya, later descend to the material world, taking birth as the 2 sons of Diti, Hiranyakashipu being the elder and Hiranyaksha the younger. They were very much respected by the Daityas and Danavas, demonic species.
Yeah. Right. So we know the entire episode, how they are born to Diti and Kashyapa, right? So this particular pastime also explains us, Prabhuji and Mataji's, that if the children are not born properly, right, with not a proper consciousness, which Kashyapa he actually denies the request of Diti, saying that it's not a right time to begot the children. But Diti, somehow she's very particular and she wants it. Therefore, it clearly explains to us what happens if the children are not born when the parents are not in the right consciousness, right? So it eventually results in giving birth to asuras, right? Which we are primarily seeing such kind of demonic qualities in Kali Yuga, because there is complete Varna Sankramana. Right, 41.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Shall I
Yes,
read?
yes.
41. Appearing as Nrsimhadeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Hari killed Hiranyakashipu. When the Lord delivered the planet Earth, which had fallen in the Garbhodaka ocean, Hiranyaksha tried to hinder him. And then the Lord, as Varaha, killed Hiranyaksha.
Yeah, so it's quick summary of
Excellent.
who killed whom, right? So the translation of this shloka explains that Hiranyaksha was killed by Lord Varahadev and Hiranyakashipu was killed by Narsinghadev. But there is a lot if we have to go into this particular translation, Prabhuji and Matajis, right? Both of them, Hiranyakashipu or Hiranyaksha, both of them are not ordinary demons. They're extremely powerful. that we can't even imagine, right? Can somebody imagine that a person or a demon could hold the entire earth in his hands and move it out of its path and throw it into the ocean? Can we imagine? That is the kind of power Hiranyaksha is, right? And Hiranyakashipu, much powerful than Hiranyaksha, right? Srimad Bhagavatam, earlier cantos, explain that one eyebrow lift of Hiranyakashipu would have, create terror even with the demigods, the great demigods like Indra, right? That is the kind of power that, Hiranyakashipu is. He's not an ordinary living entity at all, right? There is nobody who can go against him. Whatever his orders are, all the demigods, including the great demigods, are simply following it, right? Such as the power of Hiranyakashipu. So he is not an ordinary human being or ordinary demon, right? Killing that kind of demon is not it's a humongous task by itself. It's a mammoth task, right? That's where, Lord Narsinghadev appeared to kill him, right? And Hiranyakashipu, the reason for him killing Prahlad Maharaj, everybody knows that, is only that, he's always chanting the name of Lord Vishnu. That's the only mistake that he's done in his life, right? And it's not that Hiranyakashipu's one of the agenda is to kill Prahlad Maharaj. He's the only one-pointed focus. Ekeha Kurunandana. Right? One point of focus for Hiranyakashipu is to kill Prahlad Maharaj. Right? He kept all his works aside. And who is Prahlad Maharaj? His own son. And he wanted to kill his own son, who is just 5 years old. And the only mistake that 5 years old boy has done is the chanting of the holy name of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Right? Imagine such powerful demon targeting to kill his own son, which is a one-pointed agenda for him, leaving everything outside. And the mistake that this boy has done is chanting the holy name of Krishna. Can it be more worse than this? And such a powerful demon. So in order to kill such a powerful demon, what is the level that, Lord should appear with the level of power? Right? I want to quote Narsinghdev's Ashtabahu Stotram, the opening Stotram of Ashtabahu, right? The Stotram, which talks about how Lord Narsinghadev appeared, right? It says, Bhukandam Varanandam Paravara Viratam Dampadam Poru Dampam Dim 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 Dibambam Dahamapi Dahamai Jampa Jampaischa Tulyas Tulyas Tulyaha Duma 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 Kaiha Kunkumankaiha Kumankaiha Etatte Purna Yukta Mahakara Hakara Patumam Narasimha. So it explains how Lord Narsinghadev has appeared with his 8 hands. Entire earth is shaking, right? With that step, every step he is taking, right? There is noise everywhere. The kind of noise that is produced from his roar, right, is humongous. That, people are scattered. They're scared, right? That's the power of Lord Narsinghadev, right? And he appeared in such a ferocious manner that, everybody, even the great demigods who looked at him, were actually scared completely. Right? That's the power of Lord Narsinghadev. So let's go into detail into the next shlokas and see, how it is explained. Yeah, 42.
42, there is no
only translation, Mataji. One of you can quickly read this. Yeah, okay.
I can read, Prabhuji, if nobody is reading.
Okay, sure, Mataji. Please go.
You can read if you want to read.
Yeah, sure. So translation. Desiring to kill his son Prahlad, who was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu, Hiranyakashipu tortured him in many ways. We have just discussed about that, right? He tortured in all possible ways to kill Prahlad Maharaj, right? Yeah, 43.
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yes,
No.
yes, please.
43. The Lord, the super soul of all living entities, sober, peaceful, and equal to everyone. Since the great devotee Prahlada was protected by the Lord's potency, Hiranyakashipu was unable to kill him, in spite of endeavoring to do so in various ways. Purport. In this verse, the word Sarvabhutatma Bhutam is very significant. Ishvaraha Sarvabhutanam Hruddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. The Lord is equally situated in the core of everyone's heart. Thus, he cannot be envious of anyone or friendly to anyone. For him, everyone is the same. Although he is sometimes seen to punish someone, this is exactly like a father's punishing his child for the child's welfare. The Supreme Lord's punishment is also a manifestation of the Lord's equality. Therefore, the Lord is described as Prashantam Samadarshana. Although the Lord has to execute his will properly, he is equipoised in all circumstances. He is equally disposed toward everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So the Lord's mercy is seen in two ways here. One, protecting Prahlad Maharaj. Second, killing Hiranyakashipu. So punishing Hiranyakashipu, Prabhuji and Mataji, from a material aspect can appear as a God's killing or punishment or maybe partiality to Prahlad Maharaj by killing Hiranyakashipu, but it is not, right? If somebody who is scholar who can look into it can understand that this is Lord's mercy in a different way, right? As Prabhupada explains in this purport, it's like father punishing his child for the own benefit of a child. It's not a punishment. It's only to change ourselves, right? Prabhuji and Mataji is primarily, if you look at it, the jails are meant for what? Though it is punishment, primarily they are meant to get that kind of change or create that kind of change within us. Right? In the same way, whenever Lord punishes us or kills anyone, it does not mean that Lord is anger to them or partial to somebody else. It is basically to give his mercy in a different way. That you need to be punished for whatever bad deeds that you are doing so that you can change yourself. Right? That's the difference between a materialistic vision and a spiritual vision. A materialistic vision will always look like, oh, God is, he's favorable, right? He did not even bother that Ravana is a Brahmana, he killed him. Right? Just because Brahmana, it does not mean that, somebody is doing all the bad deeds should not be, spared, isn't it? That's exactly what Srila Prabhupada is quoting here. Let's go to the next sloka. 44. One of you want to read this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Are you able to hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Text text number
44.
44. Okay. 44. Thereafter, the same Jaya and Vijaya, the two doorkeepers of Lord Vishnu, took birth as Ravana and Kumbhakarna, begotten by Vishrava, in the womb of Keshini. They were extremely troublesome to all the people of the universe.
Yeah. So now the episode of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyakasha has completed the first birth. Now, Bhagavatam explains the second birth of Jaya and Vijaya, who are Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Their parents are Vishrava and Keshini, right? We know that, in Treta Yuga, Lord Ram has appeared to kill them, right? The entire episode of the pastime of Ramayana. 45. Translation. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Translation by Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Narada Muni continued, my dear king, just to relieve Jaya and Vijaya from the Brahmana's curse, Lord Ramchandra appeared in order to kill Ravana and Kumbhakarna. It will be better for you to hear narrations about Lord Ramchandra activities from Markandeya.
Markandeya. Yes. 46.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. I'm only seeing repeated devotees are reading. Prabhuji and Mataji, please, everybody
Read,
actively
Prabhuji.
participate.
I will read Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Yeah. Translation. In their third birth, the same Jaya and Vijaya appeared in a family of Kshatriyas as your cousins, the sons of your aunt. Because Lord Krishna has struck them with his disk, all their sinful reactions have been destroyed, and now they are free from the curse. Purport. In their last birth, Jaya and Vijaya did not become demons or Rakshasas. Instead, they took birth in a very exalted Kshatriya family related to Krishna's family. They became first cousins of Lord Krishna and were practically on an equal footing with him. By personally killing them with his own disk, Lord Krishna destroyed whatever sinful reactions were left in them because of the curse of the Brahmanas. Narada Muni explained to Maharaja Yudhishthira that by entering Krishna's body, Shishupala re-entered Vaikuntha Loka as the Lord's associate. Everyone had seen this instant. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada explains in this purport and of course in this translation specifically that these cousins in the third birth, Jaya and Vijaya, who's taken birth as Shishupala and Dantavakra, they're born in Kshatriya families this time. In earlier, if you know, in earlier births of them, they are clearly born in a demonic family. But here, they are like normal humans. They are born in a Kshatriya family and as cousins of the Supreme Lord. If you look at it, Lord Krishna has 5 aunts, and one of them is Kunti, right? And Pandavas, of course. And other 4 aunts, one of aunt's children are Shishupala and Dantavakra. And apparently, except Kunti's children who are Pandavas, Krishna is the one who killed all the other sons of his aunts, right? Because out of 5, one of them, one aunt's children stood in favor of Dharma, and other 4 aunts' children, they stood against the Dharma, including Shishupala and Dantavakra. In the own family, his own cousins, right? So it clearly shows that Krishna is not favoring anyone, right? Does not matter whether they are their cousins. As long as somebody who's against the Dharma, who's standing against the Dharma, they should be punished. Simple. And here we also see the mercy of the God. Just because they are punished does not mean that they can go back to, they cannot go back to God, right? Here we have seen clearly in the purport, it is stated in the translation also that after they are killed, right? Shishupala is killed in the assembly of Rajasuya Yajna, right? After he was killed, it is seen by everybody that, his soul entered into the body of Krishna. That means he's getting the ultimate liberation going back to Vaikuntha. Let's see the next one. Yes, Prabhuji and Mothers. One of you can read it.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I read it?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Yes, Prabhuji. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. These 2 associates of Lord Vishnu, Jaya and Vijaya, maintained a feeling of enmity for a very long time because of always thinking of Krishna in this way. They regained the shelter of the Lord, having returned home back to Godhead. Purport. Whatever their position, certainly Jaya and Vijaya always thought of Krishna. Therefore, at the end of the Maushala Leela, these 2 associates of the Lord return to Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna's body and Narayana's body. Therefore, although they visibly entered the body of Krishna, they actually re-entered Vaikuntha Loka as the doorkeepers of Lord Vishnu. Through Lord Krishna's body, they returned to Vaikuntha, although they seem to have attained Sayujya Mukti in Krishna's body. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So it is stated in this translation or in this verse that though they have a very long time enmity with Krishna, eventually when they are killed by him, they have entered Vaikuntha because they were always chanting the name of Krishna even as an enemy. That means they hate Krishna. Therefore, they're chanting his name. They could enter Vaikuntha. But Prabhuji and Matajis, somebody might also understand this in a different way. Then why should we do all this devotional service? Right? Even a hater of Krishna, just by chanting his name, can enter Vaikuntha. Then why this devotional service is required for us? So much of austerity, 4 regulatory principles, 16 rounds of chanting. Why do we need this? So Prabhupada in his earlier translations or earlier purports in this chapter, not in the section which I am trying to cover today, right? Earlier chapter or earlier verses, he explains this, that we cannot compare ourselves to people or the such great personalities like Jaya and Vijaya, right? They have come here for a specific purpose to assist the Supreme Lord in his pastimes. And they already belong to Vaikuntha, right? We cannot compare ourselves to them, right? We are fallen souls, right? Where we are trying to progress in bhakti. Therefore, getting into that kind of path where hating Krishna, but even chanting his name will not take us anywhere, because we are not at that level, right? We are not here to assist in the pastimes of Krishna, but we are here to, take care of ourselves and finally liberate, right? Manalni మనం ఉద్ధరించుకోవాలి, right? That is important. Hare Krishna. So I think it's a last translation. That's the last verse of this chapter. Who want to read this?
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yes, Mother.
Translations and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired, "O my lord, Narada Muni, why was there such enmity between Hiranyakashipu and his beloved son, Prahlad Maharaj? How did Prahlad Maharaj become such a great devotee of Lord Krishna? Kindly explain this to me." Purport. All the devotees of Lord Krishna are called Achyutatma because they follow in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj. Achyuta refers to the infallible Lord Vishnu, whose heart is always infallible. Because the devotees are attached to the infallible, they are called Achyutatma. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports of 7th Canto, 1st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled "The Supreme Lord is Equal to Everyone." Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So it's a simple ask, right? A straightforward ask by Maharaj Yudhishthira, right, to Narada Muni, asking why there is an enmity, right? So much between Hiranyakashipu and his beloved son Prahlad Maharaj, right? How did he become the great devotee? So which we will cover in our next class, probably tomorrow. His Grace Prasad Prabhu will cover this. So, Prabhuji and Mataji's, one way if you look at it, this chapter also explains us how God protects us, right? It could be a punishment for him, but at the end of the day, it is a mercy from him, right? God's punishment may not be all the time to really, teach us a lesson. Of course, it's a teach us a lesson. God activities may not be all the time really to punish us, but it is basically to show his causeless mercy on us, right? Three things what I want to, give it through this session, probably, a takeaway for all of you, right? Number one, what we need to understand is, whatever we are getting it in our day-to-day life or any special activities or any special pastimes, mercies, or whatever it is through the sanction of Krishna, right? So nothing happens without the sanction of Krishna, whatever it is, right? Nothing comes to us. If we think that, something is achieved based on my own capability, my own talent, we are just living in illusion, right? Absolutely no. Everything is what coming to us is actually sanctioned by Krishna and coming to us in a plate, right? There is no point that a human or a living entity thinks that everything is done through my own potency or my own capability. No. Right? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, ahankara vimoodatma kartaham iti manyate. The person who is living in a delusion thinks that, everything is done by himself, but no, nothing is done by us. Everything is sanctioned by Krishna and getting to us on a plate, right? That's number one. Number two, Krishna never does a mistake, right? Whatever is being sanctioned to us, as we just discussed, is extremely well calculated, right? We think that we know ourselves, right? But we don't know anything about us, right? Maybe our age is today 40 years, 30 years, 60 years, 80 years, or whatever it is. That's all we know. But do we know what is we in our previous life? Do we know what are we going to be in our next life? If at all there is anything, I don't wish any of us should take a birth again. We all should go back to Krishna, Goloka Vrindavan. But, in case, do we know what is it? What have we gone through earlier? Right? We don't know. Do we know what are the kind of activities that we have performed? good, bad, whatever it is. So how do we think that, whatever we are getting is not planned? No, Krishna knows us everything in and out for millions and billions of years. So whatever he does to us, he give it to us, is well planned and well calculated. Right? Nothing is unplanned. Right? It is not easy to understand these kinds of concepts with the 400 grams brain that we have. It's not easy. Right? So that's the reason we need to just understand that Krishna's plans are much perfect and accurate than ours. And number 3, what I want to tell you is Krishna loves us unconditionally. Right? When a purified soul surrenders onto Krishna, then Krishna takes charge. He loves us unconditionally. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupashyate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshema vahami aham, Krishna says. Right in Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter. Right? He gives us a clear understanding and declaration that whoever thinks of me all the time and worships me uninterruptedly, ahaitvaki apratihata, unconditional, uninterruptedly, their well-being is my responsibility. I will carry what they lack. So Krishna loves us unconditionally. Right? Krishna's love is much, much higher than our mother's love. Right? Our mother started loving us when we have come into their womb, Prabhuji and Mataji's. But what happened before that? Who is taking care of us? When we left a previous body and in between taking to the other body, in the transition period, who was loving us? Who was taking care of us? That is Krishna. Right? So it is very, very important that we understand that Krishna loves us. Right? So God's mercy is like this. Right? God protects it, gives us a helping hand at any given point of time. It's just that how strong our faith is to understand. Right? If you look at Prahlad Maharaj, which is we're going to discuss in our next chapter, Prahlad Maharaj's faith on Krishna was very, very strong. Right? So that faith Krishna tests. Prahlad Maharaj just said, wherever you want, you will find him. When his father asked him, Hiranyakashipu asked him, where is he? You can find him everywhere. So Narsingadev was ready to appear from anywhere. It's not that, he'll have to run from pillar to post. That's Prahlad's faith. And Hiranyakashipu said, will he come out of this pillar? He said, Prahlad Maharaj said, yes. Then if Lord does not appear from that pillar, then the faith of Prahlad Maharaj is lost, right? Therefore, it is the kind of faith that we show unto God, and how God reciprocates to that kind of faith is also important, right? So with that, I would like to conclude this session. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam thank you. Dandavat pranam to all of you. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, we can take few and probably we'll try to discuss.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, one question I have. So Jaya Vijay are the faithful servants of Lord Vishnu or Narayan, and they're doing their duty, Prabhu. It's like as instructed by Narayan. He said, guard the entrance, they're guarding, and they're doing the duty. Prabhu, if they're doing the duty as prescribed, why are they cursed to?
Prabhuji, as I have explained, it is explained in the earlier cantos of Bhagavatam, not here. It is basically the arrangement of Lord Vishnu. Right? They are extremely, basically, Lord at that type of time had a desire to fight.
Okay.
He had a desire to fight. So somebody will have to fight with him, right? And nobody is equal or greater than him. Nobody can fight with him. Therefore, we need to make this arrangement where he need to empower a devotee to fight with him.
Okay. So it's not that they did any lapse in their duty.
Nothing.
It is just, okay.
Nothing. Prabhupada clearly explains that such kind of great souls cannot do anything wrong.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. Understood. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. Any more questions or any reflections, feedback? I don't know. I'm on my screen. I'm not able to see.
maintain the timeline. That is the best part.
Sorry,
After
sorry,
so much-
Mataji. Sorry, I missed you.
I said, wonderful class, Prabhuji, and you also managed to finish within the timeline. I don't know how you did it. Even after giving so many explanation, it felt like hearing for a longer, but it
Hare
ended so soon. Hare Krishna.
I didn't have a good content to explain Mataji. So whatever, I could see,
No,
get from
problem.
some of the, senior Vaishnavas, I could just put it crisply.
No, wonderful, wonderfully prepared, Prabhuji. I can see your homework also. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Shilpa Mataji, for some reason, I'm only seeing myself. I'm not seeing anybody else.
Or is it? I didn't see
I
you.
don't see a gallery view as such. I don't know.
You are the co-host, Prabhuji. You
Prabhuji,
should-
I can see everybody, Prabhu.
I don't know. Why am I seeing? Why am I not able to see everyone? Is what I'm wondering. I could only see my face. I'm just hoping to see, trying to see everyone, all the screens. Anyway. Good, Prabhujan Matajis. If we have no further questions, then can we end the discussion?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
everyone
you.
for joining.
Thank you. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnavarund ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lavanya Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dhanapranam.
Pranam.